Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international best-selling book called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And just a reminder, you can always find me at wedon'tdie.com. We have so many great things going on there. Medium classes. We do a free Sunday gathering inspirational service with medium demonstration, including it's oh so empowering. I have mega amounts of past episodes between all of my work, now 750 plus episodes. So you know I'm somebody passionate about the afterlife, giving good evidence, reasons to believe, and also being empowered to live this life. So if you'd like a free copy of my book, you are welcome to it at the bottom of the page at wedon'tdie.com. Just enter your name and your email address. It says you get the first few chapters. The secret is it is the entire book. Many people come to this conversation because you're experiencing grief. And chapter 10 is how to survive grief with all kinds of tips and tools and understanding and things we can do to make the process, I don't want to say easier because it is difficult, but to lessen some of the side effects. So again, that's all at wedon'tdie.com. Our guest today is MK McDaniel, also known as Kathy. She's the author of the memoir Misfit in Hell to Heaven Expat. While dying from a lung failure in 1999, she was placed on a ventilator and put into a drug-induced coma. A distressing NDE occurred, but she also experienced the overwhelming bliss of heaven, which shifted her religious beliefs to a deep spirituality. She's here to tell us her story today. Kathy, or MK, welcome to We Don't Die.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm very happy to be here.
Can I call you Kathy?
Please do.
I know on the book title it's MK McDaniel.
Yes.
I know where you live, but tell everybody where you're coming to us from today.
Gig Harbor, Washington, which is a beautiful place to be. I lived all over the United States, and this is it.
Beautiful. And I'm 3,000 miles away on the other coast of the United States, just south of Boston, Massachusetts, in the little town of Rhode Island. So if you don't mind, take us back. I know it was pre-1999, but tell us a little bit about you, how you lived, some of your spiritual beliefs, and then, of course, what happened.
Well, my dad was in the military, so we moved every 2.5 to 4 years, and we've been coast to coast and Midwest and all of that. So that was, I think, a very good way to grow up. At the time, I didn't like having to leave my friends in my school all the time. So, but I was always the new kid and learned to be kind of, bounce back in these situations. And so that was helpful. When I got to California, I stayed for 35 years. So that was wonderful. I had my own business there. I started a property management business. I did that property management.
Okay. You cut out for just a second.
Yeah, that
property
was fun.
management.
I really loved it. And I was there for the 89 earthquake in Santa Cruz where the town fell down and all the commercial areas were wiped out and they put up 7 big pavilions and I managed all that for 2 years. So yeah, I had a good time, a good life. I retired at 50. I thought, I've been working a long time. I went to Mendocino for a couple of years just to kind of unwind. And then my best friend, who also had been my former fiance, got leukemia. So he contacted me and said, I need 2 caregivers up in Seattle, Washington. Would you go with me? And I said, sure. So we went up for what was supposed to be 2 or 3 months, but it turned into almost 9 months, Sandra, of him being sick, him getting a little better, and they'd try this and they'd try that. And I was a wreck, physical, spiritual, emotional wreck by the time he died. He was only 53 in a really rough world. So in the meantime, this virulent flu was going around. I went to a concert in Southern California and picked it up. It was very akin to COVID. And so by the time I got back, I was deathly ill. A friend of mine, thank God, came over in the middle of the night, took me to the hospital. By the time we got there, my pulse had stopped. They, put me on a respirator. They, called my family and said, she's one sick puppy. And because I had ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome, that's usually what kills people in COVID. It's just lung failure, So they said it was a syndrome. It does not react to antibacterials. methods. So we're going to throw the book at her. But to do that, we're going to have to put her in a coma because we don't want her to be alert and awake. But and that's what you got. So the family all agreed. It was actually 1999, the end of. And the last thing I remember is the ball going down. For the 2000 to roll in. So doctor said, we're going to put you into this drug-induced coma. It will take your brain offline. You won't remember anything that happens. And you'll wake up after we do all of this. Oh, you won't. And I said goodbye to the family and thought, what the heck? Out I went. Then I woke up.
Tell us more. Oh, yeah.
What's going on? They just told me I couldn't, and so it was pitch black and no sound. And I was ready to move because I didn't know where I was. And I thought, well, is this a joke or something? And I thought, well, I'll just hang out. And after a while, it started to get a little brighter, a little lighter, but it was a reddish glow. And then soon I could see this swirling fog all around me and nothing else. And I thought, this is too weird. What's going on? And out of the darkness came this horrible voice that said, you know where you are. And boy, my mind was racing. And the only thing I could come up with was, hell? And then that being just did this maniacal boo-bah laugh and scared me terribly. So I just turned and ran into the darkness. And that's when it all started.
All right. Well, continue on. There's several cases, I mean, many that I know of distressing ones, and we can talk about that later. Lots of them happen with these drug-induced comas. But what happened? Because I don't know if I want to say it's a happy outcome, but it changed your life and you did see good things. So
Yes.
take us down some of the tunnel of the negativity.
What happened?
What
it was
happened?
very interesting, Sandra, because in retrospect, I've had a lot of time to think about it. It's been 26 years. And it took me, I guess it was 10 years to find IANS. So there was 10 years of me totally not having anybody to talk to about it. My therapist said, I'll just put PTSD on your chart. I don't know how to help it. I mean, it was nobody wanted to hear of terrible things happening after they died. We were all Catholics. And the thing was, we were always taught that there was a purgatory, right? So when it was like hell, but you got out. And it was, from the time you're a little child, you're kind of mounting up your sins. And for this, you'll get this much time in purgatory and this you won't. And then they had the opposite. You could say rosaries or go to novenas and you could get 300 days off of purgatory here. So you really had this mindset. When I die, I will go to purgatory, which is like hell, but I'll get out. So in retrospect, bottom line is I made my own hell because it came in segments. This has taken me a long time talking to very many other people who've had the distressing ones. Segments, that's what happened to me. That's weird. And so the first thing that happened is when the lights came up, I was in this bombed out city and it was huge, like New York. And I'm looking up at skyscrapers and the windows are blown out. Some of them have fallen over. There's people screaming and running. There's fires everywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what happened? You kick into where I've got to survive. I got to be. So I was trying to find a safe place to kind of hide. And there was strange people, like things wandering around, and I was afraid of them. And then there was screeching sounds like a mechanical something large coming by. Maybe it was aliens. I was just terrified. And so I tried to get over this big piece of concrete to try and get into a building. I thought maybe there'd be other people. And I started slipping and I fell backwards. And as I did, I thought, oh gosh, that's going to hurt. And boom, the lights went out again. Lights came up again. I would find myself in yet another place. But the lights came up and I'm looking at some furry something or other. And I'm kind of looking up and up. And it's this demon is the only thing I can come up with that had a big stick. And I thought, oh my. And he says, you want to get out of here? In perfect English. And I thought, yes, I'll play along. He says, I got a job for you. You get this done. I'll see you get out. It was all so confusing, but it was so real. And I thought, okay, I'm a survivor. What's this clown got to say? Okay. I said, what do you need? So he waves his arms and up comes the light, and I can see as far as I could see his blackberry vines, and they're twisting and turning over each other. They got the long thorns on them, and I'm going, uh-oh. I've lived in places where you've got the blackberry vines. They're very difficult to get rid of, and you get torn up and all that. So he says, just cut all that down for me, and I'll see you get out. What? And he says, yeah, hands me these scissors that the kindergartners use, cut paper and belly laughs. So that wasn't funny. I took the scissors, I got down in there and getting all scratched up. I gnaw away at one of the canes, and I finally get it to break off, and I put it behind me so I can reach for the next one. And as I turned back around, it grew all the way back, all the way back. And now the demon is really laughing. And so I thought, I'm not going to do this. Then I thought, no, you're going to get out. So I started to cut again, and the lights came up. Sometimes I'd find myself on this road. It was the dirt road. And all you could see, there was no stars, no moon, no watch. I had no idea what time it is. Dark. And I'm walking on this road. There's just a barren, I don't know, it looked like the moon or something, just rock. But at least I could do a 360. I could look around me and see if anything was creeping up on me. But on this road, I would have certain interactions. And what is really strange is there's a lady doing a book on this, but I saw living people, people that I knew that were still alive. That's why when you're over there, you're still you and you're alive. As far as you know, you never feel dead. And so there was two relatives that I interacted with that were rude to me there, that later on when I got back, I knew I had to tell those people about the interaction because there's something in their life that was going to not be good if they continued down that path. So that was very difficult to get the guts to say, hey, I was in hell and I saw you. What? And this is not going to serve you well going in this direction. The first person I haven't spoken to in 26 years, she did not take it well. The other one did take it and changed her life. And she came back a couple of years later and says, I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't told me about that, because it really changed my life. I'm happy now and going in the right direction. So there was also unfortunate things that happened. There was a group of zombie kind of people that were wandering across my road, and I had to try and sneak through pretending to be one of them by kind of muttering and dragging one foot. And as I got in the middle of this crowd, they all froze, like they sensed, they knew I was there. So I froze too. And then I was attacked by them, mostly the men, and it was not a good situation. They finally backed off, and this demon lady came up and said, you're one of us now. Get up, follow me. So I pulled myself together, and there were several other ladies there like me, and we trudged on through the forest and then into this, all of a sudden, tundra of snow and ice as far as you could see. And she says, follow me. So it's snowing like crazy. And so we started off in ankle deep snow. And by the time we got there, it was chest high. So cold as hell is a real thing. I'm leaving out a lot of it. I don't know how much time we have, but it's all in the book in great detail. If somebody is.
That's it. It's all in the book because, our time is limited, but we definitely want to know what shifted to bring you to the light.
Came is when I got to this horrible cabin where we were now going to wait for customers. By then I was really angry. I thought, I don't belong wherever this is. I've been a good person. I don't understand this. I'm getting out one way or the other. I do not belong. And so I asked this demon lady, I said, I've been here a long time. What is it about today that's different? And she says, oh, it's Christmas on earth. It's always the worst day in hell. Hell? I really am in hell? And I thought, that ticked me off. So I thought I knew I could bug her if I started singing a Christmas carol. So I did. Away in a manger, no crib for his bed, the little Lord. And when I got to that point, she screamed. She jumped at me yelling, shut up. I closed my eyes and thought, well, at least I'll get to another place. boom, another place. This is joy. This is bliss. This is love. This is something I've never experienced. And I just wanted to stay there, just float in that, just be there forever. And as I was tumbling in this, it started to kind of coalesce, and I'm kind of looking around, and now it's like on white marble, something gorgeous and grand. And all out of the fog, this, oh my gosh, there's my friend, the one that just died, a month ago. And he looked great, you die of leukemia, you don't look so good. But here he was young. His hair was, brown instead of gray. And he is so happy to see me. And I thought, oh my gosh, he doesn't know he's dead. And then he started laughing. And I thought, no, I didn't say that out. Oh my, if he's dead, then I must be dead. And that's like the greatest news ever. Oh, this, I said, what are we doing standing here? Come on, show me around. And he says, oh, no, Mary Kay, you've got too much left to do. Huh? They're throwing me out. And I said, no. I just crossed my arms. I was so mad. I said, no. Boom. The lights went out. The lights come up. And there's people milling around. There's noise, and I can't move. I'm hot. And I'm thinking, oh no. And then someone turns around and says, Mom's back. I got this trach in my throat, so I can't talk. I weigh 86 pounds. I have no muscle mass, so I can't move. It's been 3 weeks. I've been in hell. I mean, what's going on? So they're all talking too loud. They're all around the bed. They're patting me and all that. And I've got big, big eyes, and I'm just staring like, what? And my daughter's very patient. Mom, we thought we lost you. They said you weren't going to make it, but here you are. And my mother says, I've been praying, and we've got a prayer circle going around the world. We brought you back. And I'm thinking, oh, you terrible people. Why did you bring me back? I don't want to be back. But I couldn't say anything. So that began a very long rehab. I was a month in the ICU, and then another month in a physical rehab facility. Had to learn everything over again, crawling, swallowing, buttoning. I couldn't do anything. Going up and down stairs, all the muscle mass, the memory was gone. So that was a hard month. The insurance company just gave me an X amount of time to get well or go to convalescent hospital. So then I had to deal with getting my health back, figuring out what the hell happened. I didn't want it to happen again. What can I do to not have that happen again? So that took 10 years of misery, trying to have a life and trying to get this squared away. And then finally the synchronicity started happening. The voice is kicking in, and I've got to go to Seattle. I've got to go to Seattle. I've got to go to an IANS meeting. I don't know what an IANS meeting is. And so I'm meeting people that are sending me to other people that say, oh, here's a card. I go to IANS up in Seattle, and you need to ask for James. Call him. I'm just sitting next to this woman in a conference thing, and she looks at me and says, oh, you've had a near-death experience. How did you know that? Well, she had too. So anyway, that got me to Seattle, where they had all the wonderful, butterflies and puppy experiences. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's not what happened to me. And finally, as I'm creeping out of a meeting one time, this guy, James, says, wait a minute, what's going on with you? I said, this is not what happened to me. Did you have a distressing one? Yeah. Great, he says. I says, are you out of your mind? He says, no, we need to hear about these. They're about 15 to 20% of the people, but they won't talk about it. There's a reason for that. It's very shaming to talk about this. So anyway, there I am in front of 100 people or whatever that show up for this. Oh my God, I just don't want to do this. But as I told the story, these were my people. I mean, they understood, they had been there, they accepted that. And all of a sudden I became the hell girl. I'd go to meetings and somebody'd show up and they'd had a distressing, oh, it's all right, go get Kathy. She's the hell girl. And I'd go over and I'd sit up there going, what? I said, and then I could help them. So part of my experience was to shepherd or help people who come back with these near or distressing experiences. I've got a co-host a sharing group on IANS now, specifically for people with near-death experiences that are distressing. And we get new people all the time that finally feel like it's a safe place to share their stories. And it's just been very uplifting and a very positive experience.
I
And
want
I
to
do a lot for IANS on that.
I want to share with people because you keep referring to IANS.
Oh, yeah.
IANS stands for the International Association for Near-Death Studies. It's the largest in the world. Dr. Raymond Moody coined the term near-death experience 50 years ago. IANS.org is the website. They do a conference every year. You can join live or have it live streamed to your house or watch past recordings, conference.ians.org. They are the best at the website. You can find local chapters, you can join things online, you can read 1,000+ near-death experiences. Yeah, there's just a whole world. So I just want to give a shout out to IANS.
You betcha.
And don't you wish 10 years before you found them, that you found them?
Yes, it was awful. But it gave me background experience that I could share with others. And I really firmly believe in talking to so many of them with their segments. And I would say, Sandra, at least 85% of them are Catholic, recovering Catholics. And it's something that was just pounded into us. Other cultures, other religions also teach things to children and adults that are nonsensical, that are not spiritual, and are garbage. I'm so glad to finally help people that were in the same place I was. God is all loving and all forgiving and would never condemn anybody. Is never, do not be afraid to die. It's a wonderful experience. And like you say, we don't die. We just get rid of this car we've been driving around in for 80 years or whatever. It's not us. So, yeah, I feel that. And when I was back to after a couple of months, Sandra, I was still kind of goofy. And I said, you know what? I need you to give me something positive. The voice was talking to me a lot because these thou shall not, they don't work, So I was told to be loving, kind, merciful, forgiving, encouraging, grateful, non judgmental, and useful. So if you can't remember all of that, loving and kind, it's contagious. It'll change the world.
I really thank you for sharing your story. And it is amazing because I grew up Catholic too, and how much all that is really ingrained with us. And near-death experiences are just that. A lot of people talk about the silver cord is still connected to us and to our ego and our identity and our beliefs. And I know I've spoken to many people who have had those dark times, distressing ones, and whether it's a pinprick of light, and even if they were an atheist, they start to pray, or someone else had this story that he didn't believe he was an atheist, but he recalled some prayers that said the name Jesus. And when he
Right.
started talking about him, all of a sudden everything shifted. So exactly what that is that happens, there's a happy outcome. What have you learned about the world of distressing ones and that you're able to talk to other people about? Because people are worried if something happens. They're worried that it's not all love and light, which it
Yeah.
is, but it might take a little while to get there until that silver cord is
Well,
lit.
I think people have a hard time with God. I think humans make God in their image instead of God making us in God's image. And so if we're vindictive, if we're unforgiving, we figure God's the same way. And that's very hard to unwrap from people's psyches. But knowing that there's this life review, I wasn't there long enough. Nobody has complained about a life review. It seems to be, you see your entire life from start to finish, and it's not judgmental. It's just how'd you do, because I believe we choose our lives and what we want to learn down here on earth. And this is just our report card with no grades. And then they turn it around, and then you get to go through this a whole life again, and you get to experience what it was like to interact with you. So if you were loving and kind in some situation, you will feel that warm and fuzzy. If you were snarky and kind of a little short with somebody, you will feel their pain too. And it's not a judgment, it's not a punishment. It's just karma. It's just an understanding. So for the people that just cannot wrap their minds around somebody that can go and kill and rape and murder and then get off with it, to know that those people will experience what they put out, what else can you do to a person? But for the normal average person, it's just joy, love, and bliss, and understanding. And I can't wait to get back. I don't know about the rest of you. That's home. That's home. And so, like you with the mediumship and all, I'm very in touch with my dad who's passed and my friend that I saw in heaven. You're right there all the time, just waiting for us. It's a party. It's great. Yeah, don't worry.
Don't worry, be
Don't
happy.
worry.
I spoke with a gentleman who wrote a book about distressing NDEs and induced comas.
Yeah.
And there's a whole world into that. So his recommendation, if you really need to have one, go into one of those induced comas. You have to survive. But if there's any other options, you just never know the experience. And they are ultra, ultra real. And if I can read this to you, and for people
Mhm.
listening, researchers like the sociologist, Dr. Alan Kelleher, have found that the context of a distressing NDE can shape the experience. He suggests that when a person is in a drug induced coma with the body under immense physical stress, the initial part of the NDE can sometimes be an interpretation of that physical trauma. It's not a spiritual judgment, and it feels like a hellish place, but it's rather the soul's difficult journey through the body's crisis to get to the other side where there is peace. And what he and others are suggesting is that you bravely traveled through that storm to get to the calm, and also all those deep-seated beliefs of purgatory and everything we're taught about in Catholicism. And it is very interesting that such a high percentage of Catholics have these distressing ones. I find it all very interesting. Does that resonate with you, Kathy?
Yeah, it does. And since you are going through this trauma, it probably brings up more trauma. And so, yeah, you've got to express it and get rid of it. Because I think that had I died, I would not have had that experience. It was just like you say. I've got one of the books on the comas too. I've been studying it myself, and it's everybody's got an opinion. We can just parts of are true or what's reality. I mean, it's just you can't nail it down. But
We
yeah, it's
can't.
nice. It's
Exactly.
great that you have people like you. God bless you that bring opportunities for people to understand these things that are either not talked about or they're misinformed with. So
Yeah.
give them a place to breathe around that. Don't worry about it. You know.
Your transformation afterwards, who you were prior to and who you are now, different people. You're still you, of course,
Yeah,
but you live
yeah.
your life of kindness, love, and being of service. Nobody wants to have a near death experience, but we want the after effects, the good ones. So, how could we live life, and how do you live life, sharing your story, and what's been the transformation to you for
The
you?
transformation has mostly been from going from religious to spiritual. That's very difficult after 70 years to give up something that you totally believe. And so that was tough, especially with the family still being Catholic. When I visit, I'll go to church, but I'm telling you, it's tough. I can't say any of the prayers. I just did the resurrection of the dead. Well, sorry, folks. Spoiler alert. Nobody's in heaven. It's uncomfortable. So it's hard not to proselytize from our NDE experience, but rather just to be accepting and the loving and kind thing and to find your purpose. And once you get that purpose, your life has meaning. So you've got something to do till we go home. And the usefulness thing right now for me is being at the senior center locally here. It's just been great. The gal that runs it says it's showed the whole vibe here has changed since you got here. People are hugging, people are including each other. It's contagious being loving. And so, and that's easy. You can do it every day, all the time.
Absolutely, you can. And what
Mhm.
really struck my heart is that gentleman who passed from leukemia, and that you got to see him and experience him and apparently talk to him psychically. Is
Yeah.
he as real could be? So many people say
Oh,
that
yeah.
experiences make this world seem like it was just the dream.
Well, because you're in such an unusual place, and that's real, and that's not real here. So to be real, real there, and then still see the same people, and they're still the same, except younger and happier. To think that, oh my gosh, all the people we quote lost are just waiting for us there, including pets. I love that part. I don't know. I can't. when you go to these conferences, and you've got 700, 800 people that all get it, and we're all together. This energy is, I don't know if you've ever been, this is going to be in Chicago at the end of the month. The worst part of that is going home. You don't want to leave. You just want to stay there, that energy. And yeah, love it.
Yeah.
It's,
I've been to the conferences, and
oh,
although I can't go to the next one in
this one.
Chicago, I'll be watching
Yeah.
it live streamed. I absolutely will. You feel like $1,000,000. You feel like you've met
Yeah.
your tribe, people who get it.
Yes.
And once we get that
Well,
we're souls having a
yeah.
human experience, we live different. We're not complaining and how's
Yeah.
the weather?
Well, yeah, and that it is multicultural. All of a sudden, everybody's got the same soul. We've just got this costume on. In this incarnation, I was going to be a white lady, a living blah, blah, blah. But my soul is part of your soul and part of the soul from this guy from India. That's where you really feel that we're all one.
We are connected. Tell us about your book, just some of the basics of what's in it, your story, of
Well, it's
course.
a, it's a memoir, and I was told over and over I had to write the book. And a medium that I met at the conference was starting her own publishing company. They said, you have to write a book. And it's like, oh, all right. So she badgered me through I was COVID, so I was stuck in the house. So I wrote it, and then I'd get downloads from my relatives. Don't forget this, don't forget that. And it came out, and now I'm just getting ready to put it into Spanish. AJ Parr is helping me get it published in Spanish, which I thought was great. And I'm looking forward to that. But we need to get our messages out. And it could not have happened without podcasters. I mean, when I was laying in that hospital bed thinking, you've got too much left to do, I thought, how? And then when that first person, Kirsty Salisbury from New Zealand, called, and then it's been, I think this is number 176 here. So in 5 years, this is what people like you were answered the call, and you're doing a wonderful service for the world. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And people can visit your website. Do you want to talk about that? Because there's a way to
It's the
connect with you.
same www, same thing as Misfit and Held HeavenExpat.com. And yeah, you can leave a message if you want to talk to me. I'll get back to
Oh, you're a good person and you make such a
you.
difference. You shine wherever you go. Well, I know this has been a
Thanks.
relatively quick interview, but it's been power
Okay.
packed. What
Yeah.
final message do you want to leave before we wrap things up
I
today?
just reiterate, just be quiet and be loving, kind, merciful, forgiving, encouraging, grateful, non-judgmental, big one, and useful. And that's your best life.
Oh, Kathy, I'm so grateful that you were a guest today. Thank you so
Well,
much for being
thank
here.
you, Sandra. It was a little tough getting us together, but it's
Good
worked out.
things take time. Good things take time, but we made it. Yeah, we had some technology problems with computers and phones and
Yeah,
whatnot, but sometimes you
yeah,
just have to wait for the right time and the right place.
that's right.
So, Kathy
Okay,
McDaniel's been
thank
our
you.
guest today. You can find her book, Misfit in Hell to Heaven Expat. Her website's the same, just add a little .com to it. Again, our friends at IANS, just go to ians.org. They are such a loving, wonderful community. The yearly conference you can attend or watch past replays, join live stream. They have speakers all the time, and there are some local chapters, not in every area, so you can join online. But if you do find one that meets live, it's another good resource to get together with like-minded people. You do not have to have a near-death experience to be part of IANS or be part of the group. You just need to be a soul having a human experience, which you are. So, as a reminder, I want to invite everyone to come visit me at wedon'tdie.com, 2 o'clock New York time, every single Sunday. We offer a free Sunday gathering, ultra empowering and fun and creative online non-denominational service. But the last half is a medium demonstration. So loved ones come through, you get to see just how close our loved ones are. They're still part of our life. They are. So we can talk to them, whether we get a big, massive sign or not. They are with us as they continue to grow and learn on the other side. But someday we'll all close our eyes, open them up, and we'll be together with them again. And yes, even our pets. So, in closing, my name is Sandra Champlain. I'm always so delighted to be your host on We Don't Die. I do believe that life is an education for the soul and that your life here on earth is important. So, be kind, be loving, make a difference for another. It sounds simple, and I think it is simple. If we can just look through the lens of those things, we don't have to make it difficult. Just look for opportunities to love and be kind. So I want to thank you for listening or for watching, and we'll see you again soon.